Welcome back to Domestic Dad Cleaning Up the Mess. Today's episode is intense, emotional, and incredibly powerful. It's a story about war, trauma, and survival, and the silent battles many veterans keep fighting long after they come home. Joining me today is Chris Jung. Chris is a combat veteran, a husband, a father, and a business owner. But behind the titles is a man who's walked through hell and lived to tell about it. In this conversation, Chris opens up about the day he lost his friend Donny to an IED in Afghanistan, the rage he had to suppress, and the internal war that followed him back home. We talk about PTSD, suicidal ideation, drinking to numb the pain, and the slow, painful process of learning to be present again. This isn't just a war story. It's a redemption story. A story of how God used fatherhood, marriage, and grace to pull Chris back from the brink. We dive deep into the struggles of reintegration, the power of honesty in marriage, what it means to break generational curses, and how small moments like a child's bedtime or a well-timed prayer can change everything. If you've ever felt like your past is too heavy to overcome, this episode will remind you that healing is possible and hope is real. Chris doesn't just talk about being a better man. He's living it, one surrendered day at a time. So take a deep breath, open your heart, and lean in. This one's raw, but it's redemptive. Grab a mop, because today we're cleaning up the mess. Before we dive into today's episode, I wanted to take a moment to let you guys know that Domestic Dad Project is more than just a podcast. It's a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping fathers navigate sobriety, parenting, and personal growth. Our mission is to provide support, resources, and community for dads who want to break cycles, rebuild lives, and become the men their families need. If you'd like to support our work and help us continue to reach more fathers in need, consider donating at domesticdadproject.com. Every contribution helps us expand our programs and change more lives. So just wanted to thank you guys in advance for being part of this mission. Now, let's get into the episode. Has life gotten off track? Are you looking for some inspiration to be a better dad? People say all the time, I'd die for my kids. Okay. But would you live for them? Actually live? Get yourself healthy? Make better choices? Eliminate distractions? Would you lead them more intentionally? Would you get sober? Take better care of yourself, physically and mentally. You'd only have to die once. Your kids don't need you to die for them. They need you to live. Have you thought about getting sober, but you just didn't know where to start? If so, welcome to the Domestic Dad Podcast, your go-to destination for candid discussions on journeys into sobriety, parenting, and personal growth. I'm Nick Barnett, founder of the Domestic Dad Project. I've been a dad since I was 18 years old. I'm also a trauma survivor, an alcoholic, divorced, happily remarried, hardworking, humbled by life, domestic dad. On this podcast, you'll find interviews with people who have walked that path, including myself, coaches, mentors, and pastors who can help guide you on your journey. You're going to need resources and inspiration. You can find that here. This is the community for you to lean into so you can start living life as a domestic dad. So let's grab a mop and start cleaning up the mess. All right, Chris Jung, what's going on, man?
Not a lot. I'm here.
Yeah, you are. And I'm just very grateful that you were willing to do this with me, man. It's an honor. And I just want to say thank you.
Well, thanks, man. Thanks for the opportunity. It's a pretty cool, it's a really cool thing what you do. So
yeah,
it's just so dope.
Well, I remember we were at the pumpkin, was that last year? The pumpkin patch?
Yeah, pumpkin patch. Yeah.
And dude, it happens to me time to time. Like when I'll be out and I'll be walking around or whatever, and somebody will be like, "Hey, dude, I watch that podcast,"
Yeah.
and I'm like, "Oh man, that just fills my heart." It takes me aback a little bit.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it because like my wife is like the exact opposite way. She was like, "Dude, like you're putting him out, like you're embarrassing him. He just wants to like enjoy time with his family." I'm like, meh.
Yeah, no, I'm far past embarrassment.
Yeah.
There's not much that can really embarrass me anymore. I've done enough to embarrass myself. So. Yeah, man, it's just it was cool. It was cool.
No, and, it was really cool. Yeah, then here we are again, like a year later.
6, 7, 8 months later.
Yeah.
Here we are. Yeah, cool. All right, dude. So you know how I start these things? What was growing up like for Chris Jung?
Yeah, so I grew up in Mason City, single mom. It was me and my sister. I was originally born in Austin, Texas. My mom left when I was a baby and she was pregnant with my sister. My dad was in jail, drugs, and all that fun stuff.
Wow.
So then my grandpa, the story has it, my grandpa came down, helped my mom pack up, and then just drove up to Iowa and then settled there. And yeah, most part, childhood was great. Fond memories. And, as always, there's still some traumas and issues growing up. I know my mom had, especially in the beginning, I do remember she had one really abusive boyfriend, not only abuse her, but like would also abuse us. And I remember, I had a problem winning the bed, and every kid does at some point, but then I just kind of kept with it because, some of us are late.
Well, it's not really it's not like a controllable thing, is it?
No, it's not. I mean, luckily my kids were potty trained very well, so I didn't have to. So it ended with me, but that generational curse ended with me. But nope, just get like spanked really bad or like beat really bad, and it's just like really, really bad spankings is what I remember, and just like that. But I do remember one night when we finally left.
And I'm sorry, this was by your mom or by the boyfriend
at the time? Yeah.
Okay.
So anyone listening, watching, this is going to be. I'm going to try and make this as a coherent thought stream as possible in linear time progression, but there's going to be some bouncing back and forth. But yeah, my mom, like, I just remember one night my sister, and I'm young, dude. I'm like 4 or 5. Yeah, like 4, not even like in daycare, I don't think. And my sister and I were hiding under the covers, and I was trying to make her feel better, and then just fighting, screaming, like crashing down, downstairs. And then my mom comes and, grabs us, says, "We're getting out of here." And then like we left his house and moved into our apartment, and that's where we were until, we moved into the house we grew up in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's tough and very uncomfortable being like open. I know, like I wrote like a whole timeline out.
No, it's good, man. No, that's
7 pages and then 7 pages of timeline, and I'm a better writer than I am orator. So I suppose that's why I'm not a podcast host.
No, you're doing great, man. And I think that whenever you start getting into stuff that happened to you when you were a kid, especially when it's stuff that had a significant impact on how you lived the rest of your life,
right?
It can be a bit disorienting when it comes out. So just grateful that you're sharing that stuff. And I think that kind of will play a role in like what happened, like moving forward.
Yeah. I mean, there's that, my mom, and after that, she pretty much stayed single our entire lives. And I mean, I think she would go on dates every once in a while, but like nothing crazy. And, but yeah, growing up, school, I wasn't the best student. I was always told I was like pretty smart, but I just never applied myself. That normal like 90s, 2000s kid thing. Like, oh, it's smart, but you never apply yourself. But I do wear this badge proudly. I was one of the OG ADD kids diagnoses. So I'm not hyperactive. I just have no attention span. And that really played a part, in the schooling, I think, too. And especially at that time, the schools weren't well equipped to handle kids with ADD. They taught us like a behavioral issue and not, now like you have a kid in school with ADD, they're able to like help them and meet them where they're at a lot better. But I just messed around a lot in school, kind of class clown, and just really kind of sought a lot of attention.
Yeah. Yeah. I was the same. When I was a kid. It was, they really didn't know what to do with me.
Right.
It was like, okay, Nick's got ADD and Nick needs medication.
Mm-hmm.
But, I can remember being a kid and not liking the way that I felt when I was medicated. Mm-hmm. and I would avoid like the plague going and taking the meds in the middle of the day. Mm-hmm. Did you struggle with that too?
So actually, I remember I had the meeting with my psychiatrist. My mom took me there, and my mom was worried because I was prescribed Ritalin, the OG. And it really brought me down because I did have that chemical imbalance. So like I was like my mom thought I was depressed. So she brought me back, said he's depressed. But I told the doctor, here I am again, single digits, trying to advocate for myself. Like, no, I'm not depressed. It's these pills that you have me on are making me feel this way. Mm-hmm. Psychiatrist, because he's medical school, and you don't confuse that with a Google degree. But it's like, nope, you're wrong. You're just a kid. I'm the professional. You're depressed. Here's Wellbutrin. So here I am, young age, on antidepressants, and I'm having to take all these pills because I'm dealing with all the side effects. Yeah, just treat again. Just Western medicine, treating the side effects of the other medications, and it's just I was like taking like 3 or 4 pills, I think, at one point. So, and then I just like stopped. I would just stop. I just wouldn't take them, and then eventually got to the point where my mom just gave up because it just wasn't worth the fight. I wasn't taking them, and so like I try and hide them under my tongue.
Dude, I did that.
Yeah,
I did it too until they taste so bad that it's like, okay,
oh my God, hide them under my tongue and then spit them out when like no one's looking. And
but
it was not a fun time.
How old were you when they started that stuff?
Dude, single digits. I can't remember if it was first grade or second grade. Yeah, maybe third grade, but I think it was like probably one of those like first or second. Yeah, for sure. Because I got kicked out of Catholic school in first grade. Yep. So and then they didn't want me back. So
so I was third grade when they did all of that, and I can remember they would always send a nurse into the classroom, like, "Hey Nick, you got to go to the nurse's office. Hey Nick, you have to go to the nurse's office." And I also went to Catholic schools. Mm-hmm. And it got to be this thing where I was like, "Oh, Nick, you need to go take your chill pill. You got to go take your." And there was like some teasing that went along with that, and I just, man, that sucked, man. I definitely remember that. Like, that was a vivid memory for me.
Luckily, mine was always in the morning, so like before I'd go to school or like hop on the bus, so like I didn't have to worry about taking it in school. But again, that was just another thing to have to get ready in the morning. Like, it's just, I need to make sure I take my pills, and I always like,
Yeah. Right. So how did that? So when you got kicked out, what did you get kicked out of school for?
I honestly don't. I just being disruptive. Like I'm pretty sure. Again, legend has it. My first grade teacher. It was like her first or second year of teaching. She was a brand new teacher. She stopped teaching after that year.
You got her to stop.
You
tapped her out.
I got to tap out, and she threw in the towel, and not my proudest moment. As an adult, and even then too, I didn't know. But just behavior. I was always in the principal's office, causing scenes, just being reckless. Yeah.
As you got older, how were your relationships with other kids?
As I got, I've always kind of grew up. So obviously without like a dad, a solid father figure. I mean, I have, other strong male figures in my life, but, with kids, like I just always felt like I didn't belong. Like I still, even today, have a hard time relating to other guys, because I don't know sports, right. Yeah. Like I'm not a sports guy. I'm not, and that was a big thing, growing up. Like everyone had sports teams. They watched sports with their dad. They played catch, and like I still did all the Pee Wee leagues and all the rec things in Mason City, but like I just wasn't good at them, and like I didn't, and that's just what it was. And so I just always felt like I just didn't fit in very well. And as I got older, I think a lot of my relationships and friendships just became transactional. Like, what can you do for me? Yeah. And like, as soon as like I am over, like you can't do anything for me anymore, then like I'm just on to the next person.
Well, dude, I think one of the things that you had mentioned earlier is that you had kind of a turbulent relationship with your mom's boyfriend at the time. And, you know, he wasn't showing you how to be in relationships
Yeah.
with other people either.
Yeah,
Chris.
that's true. Yeah. Yeah, that again, yeah, you're
So
right.
when you didn't have a role model for some of that stuff, I mean, that's kind of what happens. You know what I mean? Our kids, the kids, they show up lost. They're like, I don't know how to talk to you. All I know is anger. All I know is getting my butt kicked. All I know is violence, really. And that's, you know, you can't build good relationships with other kids with that. So, you know,
can't.
They call those adverse childhood experiences, or ACEs.
ACEs, yep.
So, yeah, man, that's tough, dude.
That's all. Yeah.
So what happened next?
So I had my grandpa growing up. He ended up really close with him, took me fishing, and when he was like, for lack of better words, like essentially a spy for like the alphabet agencies. Yeah. He started in the Air Force as a cryptolinguist and worked through the Cold War doing crazy stuff. Like the KGB gave my grandma radiation poisoning. It was wild.
What?
Yeah. Wild story. Any hoozle. Yeah. So like once he retired, like they moved to Clear Lake, and just I'd spend time out there with them, take me fishing, and like that was, you know, I enjoyed spending time with my grandpa. He ended up passing away like the day after, February 15th, 2000. And ice fishing accident, fell through the ice. He was fishing with his cousin, I think in the Charles City area, and then just died. And so like that was a huge loss for me and like my family, because you know that was my mom's dad, and that was like the strong male figure in my life. And then I mean, I have two uncles. One of them, he lives now in Michigan, but the other one's lived in Minneapolis with his wife. And like as I've gotten older, I've gotten closer with them, but still, it's just growing up. I just didn't have a lot of that, which is something I missed. But yeah, I mean, eventually, I did end up getting to meet my dad. I got a phone call like Christmas time when I was like 16, so it was like 2006. Yeah, and phone call, and I said hello, and he was like, "Hey, son," and I was like,
"Is he Southern?"
Oh yeah, from Texas. And hey, son, and I was like, Todd, and I was like, yeah, it's me. Like, so he was in prison. He called me from jail. Like, got to talk to him. I was so excited. Like, all I ever wanted in my entire life was to have like this conversation, like relationship with my dad. He finally called. I was so stoked. Then we like kind of like talked occasionally throughout the year, sent letters. He would like write letters from prison. With these little tracings, and he would trace like teddy bears and like really like childlike things, and like
something that like he thought you would enjoy.
Yeah. Again, he didn't know. And
the attempt was there.
Yeah, the attempt was there, which was fine. It was great. I was excited. Like, hey, it's my dad. And then, and then I think like my senior year, you know, getting to know that my mom and my pa, so my dad's dad, we're talking on the phone, and he talked about like, hey, flying us down to Texas to surprise him. And we ended up doing that. I think it was like that spring break. We flew down to Austin, and my granny and him.
Had you ever been on an airplane?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay. I've been in airplanes before, and, but you know, not to Austin. And, so that was a really cool experience. They picked us up from the airport. He was floored, and he just like didn't know what to do. And like the craziest thing was, it was like, with that whole entire family, because I've been estranged for 18 years at that point in our lives. And we get down there, and it's like we never left. Like so welcoming, so open, so hospitable. Hospitable. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I was gonna say hospital. No,
hospitality.
Yeah, but and it was just fire. So like we're down for like a week and a half, however long spring break was for us, and I'm meeting cousins, like on my mom's side, everyone's old. So like all my cousins are either old or dead. Same with like most of my mom's side. It's just what it is. They're all old. And then my dad's side, everyone's younger. So so that was really cool to see like cousins that were like my age, and like meet them, and like get to talk to them, and like hang out and just go do things. And like it was just an awesome time, and just get to have that experience. And like my dad and I were like coming up with ideas. Like I was thinking, I'm going to graduate. I'm going to move down to Texas. I was in the,
how can we spend more time together?
How can we spend more time together, catch up on lost time. And like, and I had this whole plan, and then, wrench was thrown into it. Like I was in the Army, National Guard at that time. So I was going to transfer to, Camp Mabry. Cause that was the National Guard Armory down in Austin. I'll figure that out. And like, it'll be great. And, couple weeks later, we get back, and then I get a text from one of my cousins said, "I think your dad's dead." And I'm like, I'm in the middle of Spanish class. I'm like, what? I have my phone out and like flip.
So this is late into your senior year?
Yeah. So like this.
So
is
late into your senior year.
Yeah. So I get back late in my senior year, get a text. It's like getting ready to be finals week. It's like finals week, and I think your dad's dead. And I was not a great student, so I'm like me graduating. It's like I'm on the cusp. Like all D's and C's get degrees, right? But like, those are very low D's. So I get this text like, are you kidding me? And I like stand up in class and like start like bawling and like, so I'm like, Mrs. Maldonado, I gotta go. Like, she's like, what happened? He used my Spanish name at the time. I can't remember what it was. I think it was Jesus. Yeah. But, and like, dude, I think my dad's dead. And so like,
oh my gosh,
ran out, and then like I call my mom, and we find out, he died. Again, I think from my recollection of the event, like him and like some of his buddies that only came around every time he got paid. So like my dad obviously still battled addiction, drinking and heroin and like all the things. It was payday. Like his friend, legit name Johnny Walker. Yeah. Apropos name for an addict. Came around and like they got high and drunk and like tried to climb a cell phone tower that was on the property and like got struck by lightning. He got electrocuted. And they just left him hanging there and ran. And like, but anyway, like I'm back in Iowa trying to, like, I'm on the phone with Travis County coroner's office, and like I'm trying to get them to
trying to figure out what the body, what happens to the body.
Like I'm trying to get them to release the body to like my granny and pa, like his parents, because like I'm like 18 years old. I'm like in, how like 12 hours away. Like I can't do anything, So like I finally get them to send a release. I had to like run to the library to get a fax signed, to fax something and release and get it turned over. But then we ended up like driving down shortly after. Like my mom calls the school and explains what happens, and we drive down, start getting ready for his funeral, and family, all that family comes back, and I got meet even more cousins that I didn't get to meet last time. So again, it was a really nice experience. Like something beautiful came out of that tragedy, but I don't know, man. It was just crazy. So that kind of dashed the dream of like me moving, down.
But also at the same time, you found out what can happen to an addict.
Right. Yeah. 100%. And I do think in a, almost in a Job-like way, like God was, protecting me. And like reason too, like, growing up, just wishing, like I could have been around my family, but like hearing like my dad's side family history and like that entire side of the family, because there's addiction runs rampant on that side of the family. It's not just my dad. It's like, a lot of my cousins have issues too. And, a lot of them are also great in, fantastic. They fought it, but some of them did end up in the system. Yeah. And, so like my mom leaving was the best possible thing she could have done for me and my sister because like, had we been there, it just, pardon my French, it would have been a shit show. Yeah. Like 100%. Probably been in prison and, addicted to heroin and everything. Just who knows? And like, thankfully, like we got out of that situation. My mom was strong enough to leave and get out of that. So it's just crazy. But I mean, I still talk to that side of the family. Occasionally I'll call my pa, every week or so and just kind of touch base. And, it's just crazy. Like I'm losing my train of thought, but
Oh, you're good, man. What happened next? Did you end up going to the military then?
Yeah, yep. So yeah, I joined the Army.
Did you wait a second? Did you graduate?
Yes, I did.
Okay,
Yeah,
so you did
barely.
You did graduate.
Barely. I had to like take some finals.
Yeah.
Read and after they said no, it's fine. They weren't going to make me take finals, and then I got back and like, no, you need to take your finals. I'm like, what? So I passed them all, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So I joined the Army National Guard when I was a junior in high school. Like I wanted to serve the country. You know, being millennial, 9/11 still, you know, I was in 6th grade.
Yep.
And I think science class and Miss Sewers.
You felt called to serve?
Yeah. Felt like you can't do that. You know, my grandpa had, you know, served, and I had other, you know, relatives serve too. So like, I'm going to do my part. And then went to talk to the recruiter. National Guard ended up being what it was, ended up what I chose. Talked to him. I wanted to be a linguist, like just like my grandpa, follow in his footsteps. And like, yeah, that's fine. I had a 2 years school on how to learn languages out in Monterey, California. And then, oh wait,
Sounds fun.
Never mind. Iowa doesn't have any open slots for it, so you can't do that. So the way National Guard works, you have to have slots. Like there's only so many job positions that you can have. Like that's why, like in the full-time military, they'll move you from base to base. So like if you want a different position or like rank or something, they'll move you.
That's when you geographically go to a different place.
That's when you like would go to a different place. In the Guard and like in reserves, like there's only so many spots. So like if you stay, it's kind of like the trade-off. I was like, okay, cool. Like, well, I'll be an MP then, like military police, that'd be cool. Nope, there's no open spots. Nope, can't do that.
Strike two.
I'm like, oh man. I was like, well, I guess I'll just be infantry then.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, no, I'll send you to Charles City with the scouts and you can go roll around in the mud. And I was like, I don't know what that means, but it sounds good. So signed up, went to basic training that summer between junior and senior year. Upon barely graduating then, I went back down to Fort Benning, Georgia for my infantry school to teach me how to be an infantryman. Lo and behold, it's basic training all over again, just more intense. So that was fun. And yeah, got to my unit, and that when I got back, met a lot of the guys that I ended up deploying with. But yeah, got to the unit. They, after the 2008 floods, they kind of shut that armory down for a little bit. So then the scouts and mortars moved down to the Waterloo in front of the airport.
Yeah.
HHC. And that's where we drilled. So we hung out and went there. And yeah, then I learned what being an infantry scout was. And that's just a lot of the fun snooping and pooping and, you know, spying out, watching the enemies from observation posts, trying not to get in direct combat and just kind of relay information. But, you know, when we were overseas, you know, we did it all. We did the observation posts and with the snipers, but we'd also do the direct action stuff too. So we had a lot of fun. I like to say we had our fun, but we're done. Yeah.
Yeah. So when did you deploy?
Deployed to Afghanistan, and I will preface this. This is the best to my. I will recount my deployment to the best of my knowledge.
Okay.
I may get some details wrong. Don't come at me, bro. It's been like 15 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that Sour Patch Kid went down wrong. But so deployed to Afghanistan fall. It was like 2010. We deployed in the fall and then went through 2011. Got back in like summer of 11 or whatever. Late summer. Yeah. No. Went to Afghanistan. Yeah, like it was my squad. So like the way it was initially, we had our whole platoon, the scout platoon. We had one squad of snipers and then 3 squad of infantrymen. So like 3 squads of like 12-man teams. And then the snipers would be broken down and like given to like each, you know, broken down into 3 teams. And then each squad would get a sniper team. So like we were in Medterlom. Some of our other guys were in like other places. And and then eventually at some point during the like halfway through deployment, we all just kind of like came down and just operated out of our Medterlom because it was like the kind of like the district center, like the capital of our region. And then we would just operate. If we went north, we'd push north, we'd push south, wherever we go, that's what we do. But a lot of Afghanistan was it was a really cool experience. Being an Iowa kid, luckily I did get to travel, in the United States a little bit, but that was my first time being international. And it was just really cool just having this juxtaposition of like garbage filled streets and like mud hut houses.
I know where you're going with this.
And like these beautiful mountains in the back.
Yeah.
And it's just it's actually like an insane, it's just so pretty.
So many people that I have talked to, combat veterans that have served and gone to Afghanistan, have all told me, you have no idea how beautiful that country is.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's absolutely gorgeous. And like even like the people, like the citizens of Medterlom and like a lot of the towns we went to, like they were just wonderful people. They're just there trying to make a living, and like they stay out of our way and they want to stay out of the bad guys' way. They just want to do their own thing and be left alone. It was always a lot of fun too, because I'm doing dismounted patrols. We'd occasionally, kind of like the police, you'll see them drive around. They're just patrolling. We'll do that too. We'll just walk through the town, and then I always had this kid. He'd always run up to me, Mr. Jung, would you like some Niswar? And Niswar is like a Afghani dip. And I was like, at that
like
time,
chew?
Yeah,
Okay,
like chew.
right.
Yep. And like at that time I smoked cigarettes, but I didn't like Skoal or Copenhagen because I wasn't a man yet. But this Niswar, like it tasted like cud, like how I imagine just like hay, just like chewed up grass would taste.
Yeah.
But like it burned really well. It like burned great. It was a great feeling. So I was like, yeah, go get me some. I'd hand him $1. He'd go run off, and like every time he'd run off, I was like, today's the day he's gonna just steal my money and never come back. But like 20 minutes, 2 hours, 3 hours later, he would always come back and find us, and he'd like, here you go. And then I'd give him like a piece of candy or like a pen or something. And it was just so cool. Just like kids were like always super sweet. They would try and pick your pockets if you weren't watching. So there were a couple of times I had to grab a kid's arm and like push him away. And excuse me. But it was really cool. It's just really cool. And just there's something about, and like even too, like once we get like spring and fall, like there's always like, especially I live out in Jessup, so very rural, so like, and a lot of farm fields, so there's always like poop on the fields. They're always spreading manure, but it's always a really cool smell when you get these like cool mornings in the spring and the winter, and there's like manure out in the fall and spring, and they get the manure out in the fields, but then someone's like burning, you can smell like a wood burning stove. And like, that just always brings me back to Afghanistan, because that's kind of like what, it smelled like in the town, especially on the morning. So it's just like a good flashback. Yeah. So, it's really cool. There's a lot of things that still remind me a lot of the good things of it, and obviously some of the bad. So
yeah, let's get into some of the bad stuff.
Yeah, some of the bad stuff. I know the biggest bad thing. It was 14 years ago. On the 13th, we lost Donny Nichols. He was killed by an IED on a mission we had. We were doing a route clearing mission. So our platoon was on some dirt roads, while the Army engineers were on like the hard surface roads. And we were just kind of like shadowing on the side. So the ones in the middle was the river. And we get to the Sangar Valley, I think it is. And we're going along, and business as usual. I'm a gunner. I'm a crow gunner in an RG-31, so like a big giant armored truck. So like I'm inside I'm controlling a turret with a joystick, and like I have a computer screen that I can like do like daytime. and also thermal. So it's kind of like a video game. So way cool. And then so I'm just moving around scanning, for anything. And Donnie's in the truck. So then like the way it was, like you'd have like a lead truck or like A&A, and like there's always like Afghan National Army A&A, like they'd be in between us. And so like he was in a truck. It was a A&A truck, then him. So like when he got over, like his truck got over a culvert, explosion came out, and dust settled. Like we see, we brace for contact and like trying to figure out like what the fuck is going on.
Yeah,
my French.
No, you're good.
And just see dust settles. We see the truck's on its side, and just scanning the sector, like trying to figure out what's going to happen. And like I'm hearing on the radio, and like I think it's Jeremy Boris, sniper section leader. Like he was like the guy in charge on the ground at that time. And he's just saying like, ID kind of called it in and over the radio and just trying to figure out what's going on. And then we get the report that like we lost Donny and like and the guy in the turret, Gord. That truck just had like a normal gunner's turret, and that teacup like came out, I think, and like he ended up out and like he broke both of his legs, but like he's alive today and alive and kicking. But Donnie, like the truck like blew over and like landed on top of him, and he was gone. And it was just like the worst thing, just having to sit there and wait. Like you knew like your buddy died, like this dude, like I just had a conversation with like during the mission briefing, or just like joking around and like just talking shit to one another, because that's what you do. Just you're 19, 20 years old, 21 years old, just talking shit and the best, and just razzing each other. And then now he's gone, and
abruptly.
Yeah, abruptly, and like no real rhyme or reason, and like they're just trying to figure that. And like the hardest part too, like I'm scanning and like I see like the villagers, like they all like come around and they're like cheering, like they're like, it's just like the hardest thing. And like that's something I like obviously remember, but like that's one thing I'm looking through this camera, and I can just like see just like these silhouettes of people cheering, like the sand people from Star Wars. Like it's just awful. And I had to tell my squad leader at the time, I was like, Joe, like it's taking everything in me not to just like shoot them all right now. Like it was the hardest thing. I just fucking mow these people down because that's my buddy, That
was your friend.
Yeah. And he's like, don't you fucking do it, Jung. And I was like, I won't. And I had to take my hand off I had the joystick for a while, but it was a day. And then I remember we had to wait for a wrecker to come, and like that could like pull and lift it up, and like they were able to take the truck off of him and pour it up. I remember his squad leader had to just like clean him up a little bit, like pour a bottle of water, just pouring water on him just to clean him up a little bit.
Yeah.
And then the purple smoke for the fucking medevac coming, and just hearing that 9 line, like you never thought in a million years you'd ever hear that. And you do, and it's like a surreal experience. And yeah, it was just an awful day. And like we got back, and we all just like so like everyone on the base like knew what happened, because word travels fast. It was a small base, and
yeah,
they just like let us go, and just like they stayed out of our way, but like also like we're like being like respectful. And
of course,
these
people just lost one of their people.
Yeah, it was just a surreal day. Yeah, and then they did the funeral. They did the whole like jets flying over, and it was just playing taps. It was just, again, absolutely surreal. Like
this all happened in Afghanistan.
This all happened in Afghanistan. Yeah, we like did the funeral, like, and then like we did a memorial service for him over there, and then we were able to watch the funeral happen here, because they did it in Waverly, and just Skillet was at the playing Cattle Congress at that time. And they did a tribute to Donny, and played their song Hero and dedicated that to him for that. And it was just really cool to kind of see like this area, this like really rally around this family. And it was just, that was like probably the worst day during the deployment. But yeah, I mean, there another time too. And move on to a little bit lighter subject. There was another one we had mission I was on. We set up a traffic control point, and we're just standing there, so trying to control, just search vehicles, make sure no bombs or anything like that, bomb making materials, things like that.
Sure.
We're posted up on a road, mountains on our like left side. To the right, there's a valley with a river, and then across that's like a village. And I was like, we're just sitting there talking, smoking cigarettes, running the TCP, and then all of a sudden we hear brap, and then like, oh shit, it's machine gun fire. And then we end up like seeing like one of the dudes who was with us. He was a part of a different element. He got shot in the hip. It was the craziest thing ever. Shot in the hip. The bullet like went around his bone and came out the top of his like butt cheek. And like, so he went down, the medic came, got him, like I'm covering fire for them. And then we're hiding behind trucks and like big giant wheels and stuff too, to get him treated, triage before they get him loaded up into the armored vehicle so he can get better care. And yeah, like I just remember like undid his belt, like pulled it down just to see, make sure there's an exit wound. And then, yeah, sure as shit, there's an exit wound. And then that's where the blood out of the top of the butt cheek, I remember, and just bleeding. And then this kid, straight laced kid, straight edge kid, barely swore, barely anything. And it was and he was like, just dealing with the trauma and like adrenaline's running. He's like, somebody give me a fucking cigarette. So like this kid's, I don't even think he smoked a day in his life. And so I gave him a cigarette and had it hanging out of his mouth, and and then like he's got a picture and he's got his camera up. He's like, someone try and get a picture of my ass. And he's like trying to get it, and it's just wild. And then we end up like, obviously still getting shot at, but like we're in like a moderately safe situation. So then like it ends up time to move, and then me and another dude, like I had a grenade launcher attached to my rifle, and we start lobbing rounds and popping out. It was really cool. Like we'd pop out, tunk, and then try and suppress fire while the trucks would move. We'd get cover, reload, tunk, and it was just really cool. It looked way cool. It was like something you do in a video game. And
Call of Duty.
Yeah, for real.
In real life.
No, dude, I mean, I got a Call of Duty story. But the coolest part about that one, the fighter pilots. So like they would always, the Air Force fighter pilots, they would always like kind of fly in our area. I found out later, just because they always knew we were up to something and we were just getting in the shit. So like they're always like, we'd call for close air support. They'd be on station in like 10 seconds. But like they have these guns mounted to the front of their jets for like dogfighting up in the air.
Yep.
But like there's no dogfighting in Afghanistan because that Taliban doesn't have fighter jets.
Right.
So they would do strafing runs. So like they would just fly in and just zoom, and like you'd see it, and then you see like these bright flashes of lights, because they're huge rounds that they're shooting, and then he'd be like boom, 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 boom. It was the coolest thing. It was like firecrackers, like the best way I can describe it. You see the flash and then you hear the sound. It was the craziest thing ever. So that was a wild time. But no, like Call of Duty one, like, so we had this battle, May 25th, Battle of Doab. We flew in 2 Chinooks, Serial Bull Valley. So like this is after, Donny. So like we're still, reeling from his loss. And, but like apparently we've been getting like reports that, from the Afghan National Police in the area that like, help, we're overrun. We need your help. And from my understanding, again, I was just a lowly private, so I didn't know anything. But from my understanding is that the ANP were like super corrupt in that area.
Yep.
So like it was a trap. So like they push it off as far as they could. as long as they could until they decided they can't push it off anymore. So when in doubt, send the scouts. So they sent us and a couple other dudes. A guy from on Waterloo Fire was there too, solid dude. But we get there. We are able to luckily land. It was like a movie moment too. So we're in the helicopter. My squad leader looks over at me because like I was a bad Catholic at that point. So like I'd still pray, but like I was Catholic. So like, oh yeah, all my sins were absolved before I came. So like, I'm good. And then like priests would come around, I'd confess and like, I'm good. But, and then just keep sitting. But, he was like, it was like total movie moment. He looked at me like, you better pray to your God that we make it out of this. I'm like, you got a sergeant. So, prayed on like flying in and worked because we landed and, we get out of there. And then all of a sudden, as soon as like the helicopters fly away is like when we start hearing the mortars start coming, machine guns start happening, RPGs start flying, like all sides. So like we flew into a trap. And it was just a wild experience. So like we had two of us, one north, one south. I was in the south LZ landing zone, and then I was assistant gunning a buddy of mine, and we'd like found a defensive position, started scanning areas. At this point, like we're surrounded, like trying to figure out what's going on, call in close air support. We got helicopters coming. We start scanning. And then I swear, like as soon as the helicopters got on station, like me and my buddy, like we're scanning the mountain, like trying to look for bad guys, couldn't see anything. And then like we'd start scanning a different sector, and then all of a sudden, boom, boom, like there are two missiles that just blew up a spot we were just looking at. It was just crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, then like there was one point like our mortar came down on us, and we're like, oh no, like it's way close, and like we hid. Luckily, there was a river right in front of us, so we're at the top of a boulder, and like it landed behind there, so we're golden. We end up like fighting them back. We end up getting up to a goat pen. It was a crazy time, dude. Like 13-hour firefight. We had to call the special forces for reinforcement. I got yelled at because I was a radio guy, so like special forces landed. I didn't have their radio frequency because it's like top secret, nobody can have it. And then like the Taliban has the high ground, so like they're shooting down at us and at them, and like we're trying to shoot up at them to provide cover for them. So like we couldn't communicate, and then I'm pretty sure special forces were shooting at us because we're the closest gunfire because they didn't know where we were. And then because I got yelled like fucking talk to them, they're shooting at I was like I can't, but we ended up getting it figured out. But it was crazy. But no, danger like 200-pound bombs dropped like super close, like to us. I saw like dust off the ground of a dirt floor, just like 4 feet up in the air, and then just comes back down. It was absolutely surreal. RPG air bursted over another helicopter. Piece of shrapnel hit the mortar platoon leader, but he was hiding, had his magazine like trying to get small. And because there's a lot of volume of fire, we couldn't shoot back without being exposed at that time. And this piece of shrapnel, like, I don't know, what is that, 3-4 inches long, like diamond shaped, hits his magazine well, which was covering his crotch.
Oh my gosh.
So like it bounced off. And like, again, if he didn't have his rifle there, that he would cut his femoral artery, he would have bled out and died. One of our forward observers, they call it artillery strikes, got shot through the pocket. I was with the Air Force Joint Tactical Air Controller, JTAC, running to help some of the officers with their radios because they needed their radio fixed. Had to like zigzag through, feeling like bullets fly by my, like literally feeling the air by my head. Just wild time, dude. But the Call of Duty story was the crazy one. So there's only so many AC-130s in country, and I'm pretty sure like we had like 2 of them out of 3, I think is what it was. But like at nighttime, the AC-130s came on station, and you could hear like from that Call of Duty Modern Warfare mission where like you're the AC-130 gunner and you have to change the guns over. Like you could, like I could hear it and I could call out. It was the craziest thing. It's flying up in the air and like cycling through all of the different like weapon systems on there. It was just crazy.
Wow.
It was wild. But no, we all made it out. We held that village for 3 days. They had a whole stream of dead and wounded come down for the next 3 days, and then they load the dead up in trucks and truck them off, I think, and then wounded, we'd render aid the best we can to them, and anyone we thought like had a part in it, we'd arrest and get them turned over to the Afghans National Police, and it was just a crazy time. But yeah.
Can I ask you?
Those are some of my cool stories.
Well, I mean, those are pretty graphic, and with detail that I think people that are just like regular humans that have never experienced anything else like that before.
Yeah,
it's kind of like, holy like hearing that experience. Like we all talk about like trauma and stuff that we acquire throughout our lives with, you know, our parents or bullies or like things that happen in our lives or physical altercations and things like that. But to be in a war zone,
right,
where you're describing bullets whizzing by your head, losing a friend who you just had a relationship with and having to clean his body off, and having to hold back the urges to like unleash hell on the people who did that to him. You know, that's, dude, can I ask you, when your tour was over, when the deployment was done, and you're on a plane coming back home, you get back to like a safe place. Does it turn off?
So no, it's a really good question. So at that time, so like we were still insulated. So like the Army did a really, really great job. And again, to everything I just said, best of my recollection.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So, don't come at me, bro.
Thank you. No, I think anybody that listens to this would be like, thank you for your service.
Oh yeah. Thank you.
Don't worry about the details, man.
But, so with that, so the Army does a great job of training compartmentalization. So like, you know, good guys, bad guys, things like that. You just do what you have to do, especially if you're like on the warfighting side, not the support side, which granted it's also, you know, all warfighting, but you know, I mean like the combat side. So like when we're there, like it's fine and we're around everyone because we feel safe and comfortable because we're with all the people who did it. So like coming back, land in Fort McCoy, Wisconsin, I got Blink-182 just released their first single in years, Up All Night for Neighborhood's album. I'm just listening to that on repeat. I'm just in my own little world. I get home, it's completely different because then I'm around people who weren't, you know, like there's that joke that a lot of veterans will say, you weren't there, bro. And like, but you know, they weren't there. So they don't know. Like,
it's not a joke. That's real.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not there, but, yeah, so like they weren't there and just trying to now like readjust. Like I just went home, especially on the guard side. Like I came home 21 years old. I didn't have a real job. I didn't have college. I literally had nothing going for me when I got home. So I just drank a lot and did that for a while. Then decided to move down to Waterloo and drank more. So
to suppress, to kind or to like create like. One of my guests did a really good job defining what in our heads we're doing. He said it was Gary Kroger. He said we anesthetize.
Yeah.
So like we just want to like we want the day to be over with. Mm-hmm. We want what we're thinking about to stop.
Yeah.
We want to remove ourselves from that mental place where we're caught up in all of the craziness or chaos that we're having to deal with, and we anesthetize.
Yeah.
And we drink to anesthetize.
Yeah, 100%. To stop it. Yep. To like drink to numb the pain.
Yeah.
But and like and that's what I did. Like I drank to like have fun, let me loosen up, and then like because then too like everyone at that time, you know, I was with were drinking. It was great, but then like it just got to be crazy. Like I'd go out to the bars down here on like Main Street, and I'd like jump on tables, wasted, yell Tony Romo, and just at the top of my lungs. I don't know why, and I would just try to fight people. And
you had a lot of stuff inside.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff inside, and it was an insane period of time. And like, beer pitchers were my cup. Like that's what I would drink out of. Like, and it was just a lot. And then I switched to like vodka Red Bulls, which not good for your heart. And,
no, it's not.
So it just like, that's what I did like every single night. Like I remember I first moved down, I'm sitting in my apartment all alone. The air show was happening in Waterloo at that time. And I just like started freaking out because then I'm hearing helicopters and like the planes and like all of this stuff. And it's just like bringing me back there. And like, I'm already drunk and like, I can't, so like I need to drink more. And,
So when you're drunk and you're hearing airplanes and seeing like what looks like a similar, what you would correlate to a combat situation.
Yeah. And it was just like, but I'm not.
It's triggering.
Like, it's triggering. Yeah. Very overwhelming. Lot better now. But it's especially like right when I first got home in that first couple of years, like after getting back, it was really tough.
Yeah.
It was really tough adjusting.
Yeah. Did you have relationships?
No, but yes. I ended up, clear as mud. Not really when I got back. I broke up with the girlfriend that I was with, when I got back because it just wasn't like anything that I wanted anymore. I just wanted something. I just knew I needed something different.
Yeah.
And then, moved down to Waterloo. I didn't have any relationships, until I met, my now wife. I was a bouncer at Wheelhouse, which is now iTech, but they used to do country nights. That was a big thing on like Thursday nights, I think it was. And she got drug out to go out and like literally drug. Like she wasn't even dressed to go out. Like if you were out in
sweatpants and a hoodie.
Yeah, like yoga pants and like a Victoria's Secret like V-neck and like messy hair and just not ready to go out. Not like what women wore to go out in 2011, like which is a piece of fabric that like barely covers anything. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. I just saw her and I was like, wow.
I love that you can recall what she was wearing.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I have a terrible memory, but like she can't even believe that like I can pick it out. But and my coworker at the time, like we were like joking, like, so like he was gonna try and hit on her. I was like, fine, whatever. And then but I ended up like obviously like winning her over in that moment. But like we like had the most epic high five in that long hallway. And it was just like a jumping high five. And it was, so like we joke, like it was love at first high five. But like we kind of met and then started talking for a little bit. We were talking for a little while and then she ended up getting pregnant. So that was October. I met her like 2 weeks before her birthday, her 21st birthday. Yeah. She ended up getting pregnant in like November. So
you guys are a month in.
We're like a month in, and like she's already coming out of like a long-term bad relationship and like a lot of her own traumas, and like here I am coming home, so from Afghanistan with all my traumas, and all we're doing is drinking every night, and we get brought together, and then like, oh shit, there's now a baby, there's another life being brought into this, so we decided that we're going to, stay together because obviously we're not quitters and we really like each other, but we weren't going to get married until we like actually like liked each other and knew each other. So we were going to do a shotgun wedding. And so like, here we are, we're trying to figure out how to do life together. And we ended up moving out to Jessup within, I don't even know, November, December, January, February, like 3 months after knowing each other. And
4 months pregnant.
4 months pregnant, 3 months, yeah. And I had proposed to her at that point because, like, we're going to get married, obviously, but, like, just not now.
I'll ask. Yeah. Was it because you felt like she's the one, or was it because you felt like that's what a man is supposed to do?
Both. Yeah, both, 100%. And it's like there was something completely different about her than any other romantic relationship that I've ever had in my entire life. There's something completely different about her, still is to this day.
Yeah.
And so I was like, yeah, this is what it's going to be. We end up having Nora in August. Just beautiful blessing. We get married in 2013, but like at this point too, like she's like, we're still trying to figure things out. I'm still being a dumb ass.
You can say dumbass.
Yeah, dumbass.
We are all dumbasses.
Yeah.
Yes.
So like I'm still like, at this, like I don't consider myself an alcoholic. Never have. But it's a big but. Like at this point, like I would like sneak out to the garage and play video games because I had a whole setup out there.
Yeah.
And I would just like drink like a 6-pack or 2 and just get drunk. And like, oh, oops, I got drunk. My bad. And then obviously upset her because I'm getting drunk, and that's like not what should be happening on a random Tuesday.
Baby's not here yet. So she's terrified.
Yeah, she's terrified. Yeah, like who is
what
this
have
guy?
I gotten myself into?
Yeah, 100%, completely valid. And at that point, I'm just like, whatever, man. You weren't there, and
there it is.
Yeah,
you weren't there.
Yep. And
I have this experience that was absolutely
this chip on my shoulder, and so again, we're just trying to have to learn to live life and learn to just like be together. Nora comes. I shape up a lot better.
Kids have a way of doing that.
They do,
especially girls.
Yep.
Girl kids doing that to their dads.
100%, dude. And still a bit of a dummy, but things are a lot better. But like then we still are trying to figure out. We're getting married soon, so we're trying to plan a marriage. Again, still trying to get to know each other. So like the time that like, and we always say like it was hard. Like that was hard as hell for 2 traumatized kids to figure out life together and then raise a baby and like just like completely wrenched out of what we were doing and try to figure out how to all right now be an adult and do adult things. And now you have to have a relationship and you have to be healthy. Now here's a kid and like now go be healthy. So it took a lot of work. There were a lot of late nights, a lot of arguments, a lot of fights, and it was just a lot of hard work. So like the honeymoon phase that a lot of people got to experience with their marriage, like we really didn't get to because like we were in the trenches, like trying to get through this and like trying to learn to love one another, learn to just like who each other is and like how to communicate. I'm still an awful communicator. My wife is the best. She could be a hostage negotiator.
See, and that's when they say there's a meme on the internet that exists somewhere that says there's one person who's like this and there's another person who's the total opposite and they marry each other.
Yeah, 100%. Well, and then too, like we always talk about, we talk about it frequently. Like it is it's entirely a God thing. Like if not for her, like I would be drunk on the streets, homeless, dead, addicted to heroin.
Yeah.
Who knows? Honestly, because again, like not handling that trauma very well. If she would be, probably the same. Like if she didn't end up meeting me and we didn't have Nora, and it was just really God that just kind of like ended up bringing us together and like saw the path that we're on and like knew that there's so much more for us and just brand us together. And it was us to make his plan work. And here we are, 13 years later, going on 2000, got married in 2013. And what year is it now? 25?
25. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like,
13. Yeah. So 12 years of marriage, and it's crazy.
Yeah. So, were there any other problems that the alcohol caused?
Yeah.
Outside of just like you drifting away and getting out to the garage, or was there other stuff?
Yeah. So like obviously, alcohol is a depressant. So and like it just also brings your mood down. So like it would just make me really sad, really mopey. It would bring up, I drink to help like get rid, like suppress the war traumas and the war issues, but it would just exacerbate them.
Yeah.
It get really dark. It just completely changed my brain chemistry. Like I'd have a lot of suicidal ideations. There was one time I got really close to committing suicide.
Tell me about that.
This was like right after Kelsey and I like found out she was pregnant. I did something super stupid, and I was like afraid. Like I just thought like everyone's gonna be better off. Like I'm just gonna be a fuck up like my dad, and just kind of live that out. Like I can't put my child through that. I want her to at least have a chance of having a healthy life. I can't just be, like that same shitty like situation. And I had the gun, had my gun ready to go, and instead of pulling the trigger, I called the Veterans Crisis Line and just blessed them, just talking me through it and just kind of getting me through. And it was, again, that was like super early. That was like, again, super early on. And again, just hot off the tails of deployment and thrust into a whole new life situation. And I just still spinning. And it was just crazy time. But yeah, no, I mean, that was the closest I've ever gotten. But like that depression and like that darkness, like never really went away. And like, even when I stopped drinking and like PTSD, like it's a real thing. And like, especially going untreated, especially if you are drinking, like it just makes it worse. And like, it's bad enough. Like I already would have suicidal ideations. Like, I don't drink anymore. I decided like it makes me feel like crap. It hurts my bones and it hurts my brain. And like, I just don't want to do it anymore. So I don't. But it's just like, like you just like, oh, why don't you just crash you're going down Highway 20. Why don't you just crash into that like bridge support going 70 and then everyone will be better off. Like, no, can't, not today, Satan. And that's literally like kind of
that's literally what it is.
It's literally what it is. Yeah. Like, not today, Satan. Like, you should just, and that's usually like when it's like creeping in, it's like, cause like I'm doing a lot of driving and it's like, you should probably just like, a little bit, just like veer a little bit. And that's like, no, not today. Say a quick prayer and like rebuke that spirit. And it's just tough. And I am very fortunate that like I've tried counseling. I've done counseling,
therapy.
Yeah. I've been with the man, the myth, the legend, John Church. Did that for a while. Did that for a while. I am terrible, and I'm a terrible client for therapy because I will tell them whatever they want to hear. So
it doesn't work very well with John.
No, so I stopped going. But my wife, on the other hand, has the best like bullshit detector.
Yeah. So
like she'll sniff it out, and like again, if not for her, I would be in the streets dead. What was it that your wife was able to do for you? Hold a mirror to my face, and like she would drag. I'm very resistant to change. Like I do like to like give up when things get like emotionally hard.
Yeah.
She will hold my hand or drag me kicking and screaming to be better. And like, she knows that I want to be the father that I never had.
Yeah.
She wants to know that I want to be the husband that like I never had exemplified. She knows all these things for me, and she knows that I am capable of it all. And she is my biggest cheerleader. And she's also like my strongest critic in the best way possible.
Yeah.
And she will, again, just drag me kicking and screaming or hold my hand through like just all like my journey in this life. And that woman is a saint. And she just helped me talk and like confront me. Like if I say, like, oh, I'm feeling fine or like whatever. And she's like, no, you're not. Like, what's wrong?
Yeah.
And like, let's
dig down a little bit deeper.
And then if I keep like pushing back, she'll get agitated. I'm like, okay, fine. Like, and then like just force me, like, again, drag me kicking and screaming and like, she's helped me heal so much.
Dude, so many times that reminds me of Gabby so much, because so many times I've been in a place where I'm like, just going to tap out. I don't want to talk about it. I'm fine. And that's what got me into the biggest messes.
For real.
Back then, you know what I mean? When I was drinking, like when I would just suppress and not talk to my wife about my stuff, Man, I'm just going to sidebar here. We don't deserve, sometimes I'm like, we don't deserve them.
No,
we just
no.
don't. Like they are so much stronger. And I'm talking about all women are so much stronger than us as men to walk through the fire and things. And one of the things that my biggest mistake was thinking that my wife couldn't handle some of my darkest decisions.
Yes.
And once I surrendered to God and became submissive to him, I also became submissive in that way to my wife. And I was like, okay, well, if God knows about it, my wife's got to know about it. And just started telling her everything. And all of the dark stuff that happened when I was a kid, to all the dark stuff I did as a young man, to, you know, and just really like unloaded on it. And she was able to walk with me through all of it.
Yeah, 100%.
And I didn't, and my biggest fear was that once she knew that she would be like, okay, now that's really bad. And there's no way that I can continue.
100%. And like that fear, like there's that super cheesy song, "Fear is a Liar." And like that, and that's what it is. And like that fear is going to like convince you and tell you and hold you back. Like, you know, Satan, the enemy, is just using that because it operates out of fear. Like that's how you know if it's Christ-based or Satan-based, like satanic. If is it fear or is it love? If you're operating in fear, then that's Satan. And if that's where that's coming from, then you need to do the exact opposite, because then that fear is going to be holding you back and lead you down that path of destruction and darkness, because Jesus doesn't teach fear. Jesus teaches love and grace and kindness and forgiveness. And truth. 100%. And fear is the opposite of truth.
Yeah. And I mean, that's one of the best lessons that I've ever learned is that, like, you know, my wife didn't marry me because I'm good looking. Let's just get that. Like, I'm not that good looking. You know what I mean?
Girl, same.
It's not the reason that she's married to me. She married me because she trusted that I would give her my heart and she would give me hers, you know? And I think that at the end of the day is the great lesson that all husbands, and men in general just need to learn, is that, like, if you could just submit to your wife in that way and just be completely honest with you, I mean, she's ready to walk with you.
Right. 100%.
You can still be honest and trust her with that and ask her to walk with you.
Kind of take the Prairie Lakes approach. No matter. Yeah.
But no matter, man, no matter what I've done,
where you've been, what's been done to you.
Yeah.
You
can find Jesus there.
Yep. 100%.
I love Prairie Lakes.
Yeah.
I love Prairie Lakes. Yeah. Got such a great staff and a great community over there of good people. There's a lot of good churches in this community. Yeah. So, no, man, that's powerful. Sorry, that's my toe.
My hamstring started cramping. So I was like, oh, got to stretch that out.
Yeah. No, man. I think that at the end of the day is a great lesson. Is, you know, trust your wife that she's strong enough to walk with you. And have a good accountability partner no matter what you're going through. I mean, for you, it was a lot of trauma that you experienced while you were deployed. But the bigger stuff, man, that happened to you when you were a kid. I mean, that the disciplinary, the way that you were disciplined by someone who was not your father. Yeah. You know, that's
and that definitely plays a lot into it too. And like that was something talking with John Church too. Like you know, my mom, a single mom, very emotionally reactive, which very stressed, overwhelmed. She's got to raise and feed 2 kids and like work, and like then she went to school and try and like make more money, help make ends meet. Like we're on food stamps and like it's just crazy. So like very emotionally reactive. She's very stressed. So like there's things called mother wounds, and you know, like I would I brought a lot of that into like my relationships with Kelsey, like a lot of initially lying because I don't want to get in trouble, and like because if I lied when I was a kid and got in trouble, I would, you know, get spanked or like yelled at or screamed at or whatever. And like, I don't want that as an adult. So like kind of kept that through. And like, luckily, 14 years into our relationship to that we've, you know, been together. Right. 2011. Yep. I went to Mason City Public School, so my math's not that great. That's something like I've finally gotten a lot better at. Like that might still be my first initial reaction to lie, but like I can at least like pause, or if I do lie, like just like, oh no, that wasn't how I didn't mean to say it that way. Like, oh well, yeah. I was being a dick. I'm sorry. I was feeling frustrated. You know, it's this thing. Like, I'm still not perfect. I still make a lot of mistakes, but like, you know, I'm still, you know, trying to make this progress and like learn and just like learn and not let, you know, my traumas in the past define me and like carry, and I don't want to carry those into my relationship with my wife or my children or, yeah.
You bring up a good point. The lying.
Yeah.
I mean, I got spanked when I was a kid.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I was not a good kid. So like, I was 100%. A good kid, but I did bad shit.
Yeah.
You know what I
good
mean?
Kid did bad things.
Often.
Yeah.
And I repeatedly did it.
Yes.
And I lied about it. Mm-hmm. And the reason that I lied about it as a kid was because I was so terrified of the discipline that was coming to mess up. And I have carried that with me in my adult life, and I have used alcohol to suppress all the lies and lie to myself, right? So, parenting lesson. When it comes to disciplining your kids, don't discipline them so they're scared. They're so scared to mess up that they're going to get like spanked or beat or whatever. You know what I mean? Because as we grow up and we mature in our life, that's not a good quality to lie because you don't want to get caught for messing up.
Right. No, 100%. Like, no, you just like we try to do, and again, it's through my wife, fantastic mother. It's a lot of natural consequences. Like you don't do this because this will happen, and like you will find out, kind of like that mess around, find out mentality. And like in that, like these things are naturally going to happen because this is the choice you made. And like, obviously there's certain things like health and safety, like, you know, don't do that. Like, because that's an unsafe action. Like you can't like play on the iPad anymore, you know, just dumb things like that. Like, you know,
I'm going to throw the iPad away forever.
Yeah. Yeah. That's mine. Like, that's my initial, like, you're grounded forever. And like, I can't enforce that. No. And like you keep parenting that way and like the kids don't respect you. And like now, like they didn't for a long time. And like, they would just not listen to anything I said. Now, like Kelsey is like drilling into my head, like stop overreacting. Yeah. Like stop saying they can't watch TV for 3 weeks. Stop saying they can't have an iPad or their phone for however long. They can't play whatever. Like, that's unrealistic. Yeah. You can't. So like,
you can give them an immediate timeout.
Right.
Like, hey, you need to take a 20-minute break here.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. But like, don't do something crazy. And it's like, and I finally like past, honestly, year and a half, like been working at that a lot better. So like now, like I can say like, and dude, don't do that. Be done right now. Or you can't be on it tomorrow. Like turn the TV off. It's bedtime on the weekend.
Shorten the takeaway time.
Yeah, and then but I don't even have to threaten in like, and I don't like to use that word because it sounds like that's like abuser language. But but that's what it is, and I learned that. Like, don't piss your bed, otherwise I'm going to beat the shit out of you. You know, yeah. But
it's like you had even a choice in it.
Right, and so it's like. Now it's just like, hey, let's get off. And then just being calm and like, now it's all right. You've got 5 minutes. We'll negotiate. Like, all right, well, be done now. Well, how about, can I have like 10 more minutes? Like, we'll give you 5. Yeah. Sounds good. And then it's done in 5. So like, it's tough, man. Parenting is like hard.
Yeah.
Hard.
I've done some hard stuff in my life, but being a good parent is one of the most difficult.
100%. Like, yeah.
But you have to be mindful of it all the time. It's not something that you can show up and do one day and then not continue it the next day. You have to be. It's like a muscle. Man. Yeah. Like you can't go to the gym
and squat 400 pounds.
And squat 400 pounds. Stop. I'll tell that story later. But you can't go to the gym. Like I've never have been there before and throw 225 on the rack and push it up
100%.
10 times. You're not going to be able to lift that.
No.
You know what I mean? You have to go in small increments and parenting works the same way. Start with something small that you want to work on and then do it consistently every day.
Yep.
And watch what happens over the course of a month, 3 months, 6 months. Your kids are going to understand that you're a consistent parent and these are the rules and this is how it goes.
Did you ever see the movie What About Bob? Bill Murray, Richard Dreyfuss?
Yeah.
Baby steps.
Yeah.
Baby steps. And Kelsey and I use that as an inside joke for a lot of things. But baby steps, like you have to, like, especially if you want to make these changes, whether, again, I've never been in recovery, but from everything that a lot of your amazing guests and like yourself in your story says, it sounds like baby steps.
Yeah.
It's these small wins. It's like, like helping recover from trauma and PTSD. Like it's baby steps. Like you have to take these little baby steps, baby step out of your apartment, baby step out into the street, you know, baby step to the telephone booth, you know, it's baby steps.
Yeah.
And that in that way too. And I think that's an actual thing for like goal setting, like these micro, like attainable goals, kind of like you snowball.
Yeah.
So baby steps.
Yeah. There was something I posted a while back and it was a stat. It said your 5-year-old's brain is only 25% developed. If they listen 1 out of 4 times or less, that's normal.
Yeah.
Not disobedience.
Right.
So dads, yelling isn't making them learn. It's making them afraid to mess up.
100%.
So
that's powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the last thing that we want to do is make our kids afraid to mess up. Because what happens if they're afraid to mess up? They lie.
Yeah. And something like big and serious happens when they're a teenager. Like you're not, so like, and then like Kelsey like helped me realize this too. And we're not raising kids. We're raising adults.
Yeah.
We're raising future adults. So, because we only get them for realistically 16 years, 14 years until puberty takes over and then they're all friend focused.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. Which
I'm going
insane.
through that with my 13-year-old
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Like culture is raising my son right now, and it is scary.
So we have a very short window of time as parents to instill like morality and ethics and what we want them to be and how we want them to be and model that as parents. We have a very short window, and then they're going to be adults.
Yeah.
And how do you want your sweet little baby to be as an adult?
So I have something to that. The greatest lesson that I've learned and that I keep trying to remember to instill in my kids is that even though at some point in their life they're going to become an adult, right? That they are still children of God.
Oh, yeah.
They are always going to be a child of God.
Yeah, 100%.
And that there are ways to learn from what God has given us in terms of lessons.
Yep.
And the best one is to read the Bible.
Yep.
The next best one is to pray and talk to him. And then also obviously go to church, right? Go to church on Sundays. But nowhere in the Bible does it ever say, okay, you've done it. You are an adult of God.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
No. You're always a child of God.
You're always a child of God.
Yep.
So always be, you know, submissive to that.
100%. I like that. That's really good.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Sick.
So I have some questions.
Yeah. What do you got?
What is your favorite memory of being a father?
Dude. Man, I gotta do like one for each child because so that way the other one when they listen they don't feel left out. Like,
who's your favorite kid?
Both.
Good answer, Dad.
But like obviously like the one that sticks out too, like it was just so crazy because like when Nora was born, we're in the hospital. I'm 22, Kelsey's 21, and right, yeah, and she comes out like born. I already get over the panic of just like everything I just saw, and then I speak, and Nora whips her head and looks directly at me because I spent this whole time talking to her, singing to her in utero, and it was just like amazing. And then
so she remembered.
Yeah. Like she knew my voice. She knew my voice. And then honestly, with Penelope, and this one just kind of takes the cake. And this would just happen just the other night. Like we're laying in bed. I love to do bedtime with them because Kelsey gets them all throughout the day in the morning, and like I just want to like take as much time with them as I can. So bedtime's very important. So like Penelope, luckily 9 years old, still wants me to lay with her until she falls asleep. So I do. And we're just laying there the other night. She was getting ready for ISASP testing.
Yeah.
And she was very anxious about it.
How old is Penelope?
She's 9. So she's in 3rd grade. So she's worried about it. So we're just laying there and we're just talking a little bit. And I told her, I was like, and I remember this from John Church, actually.
John's so good.
Yeah. And like a centering, like a grounding, like if you're in the classroom and you're getting really anxious and you're about these tests, just like take a deep breath, close your eyes, and think about where you are. Think about you're in your classroom, you're in your desk, you're getting ready to, take your test. Think about that and just breathe, take a couple deep breaths. And that really meant a lot to her. And because like right after, she was like, Dad, you were the best dad ever. Like, seriously, I love you so much. I was like, thank you, Penel. And like, I come home last night and like at a fire meeting on Thursday. So like, I wasn't able to put Penelope to bed because it ran long. So then I got home, took a shower, talked to Kelsey. She's like, yeah, right before bed, Penelope, all she would say is just like, all she talked about, like how great of a dad you are and like how you're her favorite person. I was like, I'm doing something right. Again, just giving them that experience that I didn't get. And that's all I want. That's all I want. I want to be that dad that I never had.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just, yeah.
Yeah. If you could say something to your dad today, what would you say to him?
I love you and I forgive you. That's what it would be. 100%. And yeah, I get it. Like, it's not his fault. I know he had his struggles, he had his demons, and I honestly don't know where he was with his faith. So I genuinely would love to believe that he is up in heaven, and that I do get to, see him again someday, whether it's on heaven or in the new earth. And I just want to tell him, like, I love you and I forgive you. It's okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure, like, because I know, like, there was a lot of remorse during moments of lucidity that he'd have.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't just me and my sister. I have 2 other, like, older sisters, half sisters. That one he had a relationship with and like ruined that, and then the other one he didn't end up having a relationship with, and so I'm sure he's got a lot of regret.
Yeah, that's good. I bet message received.
Yeah.
I bet it is. What do you wish the most for your kids?
That they learn from my mistakes and Kelsey's mistakes, so that because again, we're parenting where we are candid, we are being honest about everything, of course, age appropriate.
Yep.
And my OWIs, drinking and driving, don't fucking do it. This is why, because I did it, and and like all these other things. Don't like binge drink, don't, it's not worth it. Like we already talked, especially Nora, she's getting to middle school and just things like that. Just this is why, like, eventually you're going to make your own choices, but we'd prefer you not, because we already did all these things and it sucked. So, and just learn from our mistakes.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing.
That's so good. Once the day comes when you go to heaven, when you and your wife go to heaven,
because we're gonna notebook it. We already talked about it. We are notebooking it. Like, she can't do it without me. I can't do it without her. So it will
be within days.
It's the notebook. Yeah. That's how we're going.
So when that day comes, what do you want your girls to remember about you guys?
Just our relationship, and like that, like we want them to, our whole goal too, then with our relationship is that we can model what a healthy Christ-centered relationship is like, that they can learn from and take into their marriage. And then my wife would obviously say is like, don't let a man talk to you that way. But, and, so, and just kind of like model that so that they can take that into their relationships and like, again, model that for their kids and grandkids and just kind of keep it going. And just like I can break my generational curse of, and Kelsey's generational curses that she has in her family and, which really aren't much, but, relationally, but it's just how, that's just what we want. We just want them to just be healthy, happy Christian adults.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, last one. Somebody's dealing with the stuff that some of the same stuff that you went through, similar stuff to what you went through, Chris, when you were over in Afghanistan, when you were deployed. What advice would you give them coming back into the world, or when they decide that they want to get better? What advice would you give that person?
Yeah, dude, find a battle buddy. And just talk. It's not lame to talk about your feelings. It doesn't make you a man to repress and, to repress how you're feeling and just like shove that down. Like, just talk, just find someone. Like, we've already lost, I think we just had another suicide from our unit, from the guys, like out of our, not our company, but like our battalion, recently. And it's just reach out, just find someone. Like, if you can't find someone there, like when I get together with like my army buddies, like we have our own lives, we're busy, but when we get together, it's like, again, like we're still back, we're still 20 years old.
Yeah.
And it's like, we didn't skip a beat. It's that relationship's still there. Just reach out. And you're not going to burden anyone. Like, and that's the thing, like you're not going to be a burden. Like, all of us want to like help. Like, that's why we deployed. Like, that's why we joined the army. Like, we wanted to help. And, yeah, right. We wanted to help. I mean, that's why I'm on the fire department. Like, I want to help. And so like, just reach out. Like, if you don't have anyone in your life to reach out to, just message me on Facebook.
Or go to Domestic Dad Project.
Or go to domesticdadproject.com.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what this whole thing is about, man, is creating a community that guys and gals from time to time can lean into, whether it's through sobriety, parenting, or just personal growth and opportunities to drop the guard.
Yeah, 100%.
And stop posturing.
Yeah.
And let somebody know that you're going through it. Mm-hmm. We've had, I want to say maybe 30, almost 40 episodes of guys that have come through this podcast that are ready and willing to have a call, right? To have a text, to have a message for the listeners to lean into. And Chris, you have just opened up a whole nother pathway for people to lean into you. So, dude, thank you for sharing your journey with me and with the listeners. It's been awesome.
Of course.
Is there anything else that you want to leave us with?
Yeah. No, I really love what you're doing, and we got to talk a little bit about before, kind of like drop some sprinkles and hints of like some pie in the sky ideas that you have, and I love what you're doing. I love your mission. Again, like as a child of an addict, I think that's super important to like. And like hearing the stories of these guys that are dads and like wanting to repair these relationships, trying to repair these relationships. And sometimes they're irreparable. And so like if we can get to build these programs and like get these resources out there, so that way these guys can have these relationships with their kids that I didn't get before it's too late. They can get the help they need before it's too late, before they, like it causes irreparable damage. So I run Stuff, Etc. in Waterloo. And what I'd like to do is on Father's Day, so I want to donate. I'm going to donate 10% of our sales from that day to the Domestic Dad Project. So I just, anything I can do to help, I try that again. I just want to help. And that's one way I can help support the mission. And so that's what I'm going to do, whether you like it or not.
If you're listening to this podcast and you are not shopping at Stuff, Etc. on Father's Day, please go over there and check that out. They have an awesome store. It's right off of San Martin Boulevard in Waterloo, Iowa. Chris Jung, man, thank you so much.
No problem, man. Thanks for this opportunity. It was fun.
Yeah,
it was a blast.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yep.
If you're hearing this message, you've listened to the entire episode. And for that, I want to thank you with all my heart. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It really helps us out. If you have questions about getting sober, parenting, or personal growth, email Nick at domesticdadproject.com with any questions about cleaning up the messes you've made. And if your question is discussion worthy, we'll feature it in an upcoming episode. Don't forget, you can watch any of these videos uncut and unedited, filmed in my studio from our YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and search for Domestic Dad Project. Also, please follow us on Facebook or share this episode on your social media. You can also join our community by grabbing some merch. It means the world to me to know that this podcast is making a difference in someone's life. And if this episode inspired you to get sober or simply become a better version of yourself, you can claim your free 60-minute coaching session by visiting www.domesticdadproject.com. Let's continue supporting each other to break the stigma around dads reaching out for help, to get our lives on track while navigating the obstacles of fatherhood. Until next time, keep cleaning up the mess.